What's up, everybody? Welcome back to my channel. Have you ever wondered how to do a proper scientific EVP session that results in irrefutable evidence of paranormal activity? Well, you're in luck because today I will be teaching you guys how to do a proper EVP session. Stay tuned for the breakdown. If you're new here, I'm Para-Sara, and if you like weird things like aliens and ghosts, subscribe and notify so you never miss my posts. Most of you probably already know that EVP stands for Electronic Voice Phenomena. It occurs when a spirit voice or sound manifests on a recording. Now, of course, before you can do an EVP session, you're going to have to get a hold of some type of recording device. There's a wide variety of different types of recorders that you can use, anything from an old school cassette recorder to your cell phone to even the audio on your video camera. But the best type of recorder that is going to yield the best results is one with a high range of frequency and recording, and one that does not reduce low frequency sounds. Make sure your device uses the uncompressed file format, usually called WAV. This way you don't lose all of the details when you download the file. Now, if you're feeling extra fancy, you can get an external mic as well. You can choose between getting a rechargeable recorder or a battery operated recorder, and there's pros and cons to these. The rechargeable version is convenient because you don't have to keep buying batteries, and you can simply just recharge your device every time you go home. Now, the downside is if you're investigating a location where the spirits tend to drain the batteries of your equipment, then you're left without a recording device. That's why some people prefer battery operated recorders. This way, if it dies, they can simply replace the batteries. Now that we've picked our recording device, let's talk about proper procedure during the actual EVP session. When you first arrive on location, keep an eye out for anything that might result in audio contamination. This could be anything like trains, animals, or even large groups of people. If you're part of a large investigative group, keep in mind that your fellow investigators who aren't participating in the EVP session might actually cause noise contamination from outside. So make sure that you split into smaller groups and you communicate so that everybody is on board with what's happening. It's good practice to have one group go on break while an EVP session is in session. Once you've reduced all noise contamination to a minimum and you're ready to start, press record on your device and set the recorder down on a surface that will not be disturbed throughout the investigation. Next, you're going to state the name of the location, the room that you're in, the date and time, and the names of everybody who is in the room doing the EVP session with you. Now it's time to start asking questions. Throughout the EVP session, it's really important to remember these 5 rules. Number 1, leave pauses. It's important to leave pauses after your questions, but it's also important to leave pauses after your fellow investigators ask a question. Every time a question is asked, you want to leave a pause so that the spirit can answer. Sometimes it takes a while for them to reply, so make sure you give them time. Number 2, ask relevant questions. Yeah, you can ask a spirit what his or her favorite color is, but wouldn't it be more interesting to find out the name of the murderer? Ask questions that pertain to the investigation. This is more likely to get a reply. If you get a response that is congruent with the information that you've learned about the location, that's even better evidence. Asking relevant questions can also help you determine if the haunting is residual or intelligent. Number 3, don't whisper. It's really important not to whisper. And it's really important for your fellow investigators not to whisper either. The reason why it's so important is because if somebody's whispering, that might later be considered an EVP when it's totally not. If anybody has anything to say, they need to say it at a normal tone of voice so that it can be determined that it's an investigator and not a spirit. Which leads me to number 4, and probably the most important of all of the rules, which is to tag everything. Tagging is the act of declaring out loud when a sound happens that is not of paranormal nature. If you hear a train going by, declare train going by. This way, when you're listening to the recording later on, you know that that was a real train and not something paranormal. Same thing goes for an animal making a sound in the background, or somebody bumping into something and knocking somebody over, somebody accidentally whispering, or your fellow investigators talking to each other outside. Everything that is not paranormal that you hear should be tagged. This is so important to distinguish between what is paranormal and what isn't. A good paranormal investigator tags everything. The 5th and final rule is to be patient. Keep in mind that the spirits don't owe you anything. They don't owe you an answer. Even if you paid $300 to access the location, it's not like you paid them personally. And here's the thing, the more impatient you become, the less likely you are to get a response. I mean, think about it. Who wants to come talk to the crabby, impatient person? In my experience, if you keep a positive attitude and you remain patient, that's when you get the best results. Once you're done with your EVP session, you're going to state into your recorder that you're finishing the session. Then don't forget to grab your recorder and save the audio file. Of course, when you get home, you can transfer the audio file into audio editing software such as Audacity or WavePad. Now, I will be making a video in the near future explaining how to review your audio evidence. So be sure to subscribe so you don't miss that video. And if you enjoyed this video, give it a like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.